I felt there was a lack of guidance for someone who didn't know, especially not being from this country, what it takes to actually be able to successfully buy a home. So my
Mhm.
husband looked at me jokingly one time out of frustration and he said, even you could do a better job. Almost insulting.
Yeah.
I know. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? I can. And a few weeks later, he saw a little ad in the paper when we used to look at the paper and found a seminar on how to begin your career in real estate. He cut it out for me, brought it home. I attended, and that's how it all began.
Hey everybody, it's Kathy Byrnes here with Real Estate Riches, and today I have a great talent here from Buffalo, New York, and her name is Enas Latif. Did I say it right?
Yes, that is correct. Hi, Kathy. How are you today?
Great. Every podcast that I'm on, I'm always challenged with the names. It's a challenge for me. But anyway, I'm excited to have you on here today. We just talked briefly about some things that you're doing and your successes, and really want to get into that deep dive on that. So give us a little history about who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was born and raised in Jordan, moved to the US at I was about 19 years old. And I did a few different things when I first moved, to make a living and whatnot. And when I got to a point where I met my husband, married, when my husband and I were looking for a home, obviously that's before Google time, before YouTubing everything and all of that. We had a little difficult time finding a realtor who would really talk to us, guide us, help us. And it was more about showing us a home or meeting us at an open house. Are you interested in making an offer or not? And I felt there was a lack of guidance for someone who didn't know, especially not being from this country, what it takes to actually be able to successfully buy a home. So my
Hmm.
husband looked at me jokingly one time out of frustration and he said, even you could do a better job. Almost insulting.
Yeah.
I know. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? I can. And a few weeks later, he saw a little ad in the paper when we used to look at the paper and found a seminar on how to begin your career in real estate. He cut it out for me, brought it home. I attended, and that's how it all began.
How cool is that? I love that story. Well, and I was doing another recording for a podcast, an agent in Portugal,
Mhm.
and he's an expat originally from the States, but he said he had a really rough time when he moved over and bought his first property over there and found it a huge struggle bus, let's say, of having someone talk legit to him instead of just trying to sell, which is what it sounds like you experienced, right?
Yeah, and I do believe that's something that still goes on today in many ways. The consumer is better educated today, but if we approach it from a service approach, and
Hmm.
I do believe that that's maybe the biggest secret of maybe my success, if you want to call it that. Um,
Hmm.
but it's because I approach it from a service approach. Based on my experience, I felt that's what's lacking, that's what's missing in this
Hmm.
industry, and that's what people are looking for. And it just helped me get where I am here now. But I do believe it's a service that we have to honor in our industry
Great
because,
word.
right, someone is making the largest investment in their life or going through the biggest hardship in their life during that time. They need a lot of help and guidance.
Yes. And so along the way, you decided to do a team.
Yes,
Tell us
that
that.
organically happened. So as I started growing in my business, it became almost difficult for me to service everyone properly. But I didn't want to turn away the business. I didn't want to turn away people that somehow were attracted to me and found that I might be the best agent for them. I sought help from the office, one of the agents in the office that was newer. I liked how she was coming in, working on things. I liked her approach. She did a couple open houses for me. And I was like, I like this girl, I like her style. And I had a talk with her. I said, listen, like, I will pay you for work you would do for me. And I'll even give you some referrals under my management to make sure people are serviced the way I would service them. Until you build your business, I'm not looking to start a team. And she looked at me and she goes, Good, I'm not looking to join a team. 3 months later, I think we worked so well together that it just
It
naturally
worked.
became a team. Yes.
Yes.
And
And
we
now how
started
many
from there.
people do you have on your team?
I have 10 full-time agents on our
Mhm.
team here in Buffalo. I have one full-time agent in the Tampa, Florida market. And we do have an administrative assistant, an inside salesperson, and a marketing person as well.
That's great. And you were telling me you have two different companies in each. So you're in New York and you're in Florida, and one
Mhm.
is ERA in Florida, right?
No, actually, I'm with Hunt Real Estate, affiliated with ERA in Buffalo Market. Hunt is a broker, fourth generation, locally owned and operated. So
Okay.
they're not in Tampa. And Compass, who I decided to join in Tampa, is not in the Buffalo market. So there was
Hmm.
no conflict of interest for me
Wow.
to have two separate licenses with two separate companies in two different markets.
What I love about this, I'm from Michigan. I'm in North Carolina now. The reality is the snowbirds are going to Florida and you are covering both territories, which is just brilliant to have that because you're going to have a lot of people moving to Florida and you want to be able to service them and now you can, right?
Oh, yes, you hit it right on the nail, honestly. It was the reason because I come from that service mentality that many of our clients were moving to areas, especially Tampa. For some reason, a lot of people from Western New York love Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sarasota, and that's where they're, moving to if they're moving to Florida. And often they ask me, well, can you fly and help me, with this property here? I'm like, unfortunately, I'm not licensed in that state. I said, but one day, and that one day became reality, yes.
Great. How long ago did you do that?
Tampa team was born in March of 2025, so we're very new in the market. I'm happy
Wonderful.
to report, though, we successfully closed over $5 million in business and have a few things lined up, working with a few buyers, a few hopefully listings after the new year. So yeah, we hit the ground running. We had a plan in place, right? We had
Mm-hmm.
a plan in place. We planned for a good year before launching the team. We prepared our marketing. We prepared what our launch will look like, what lead sources we might consider, what our prospecting efforts are going to be and targeted towards who, and even a day by day breakdown of what our day is going to look like and what
Mm.
activities we're focusing on to succeed because failure was not an option for us. We
I
went in
love that.
saying failure is not an option. We are
Yeah.
going to make it work.
That's been my mantra for years. It's not an option. I love this story. So I love all the part about the preparation. That is probably my biggest weak link. And I think that that is exactly how people succeed is the preparation. And you probably have all kinds of SOPs where you've got your systems in place and you just follow the same protocol down in Florida. Is that probably right?
Yes, of course, we had to change certain things to
Mm-hmm.
match the consumer behavior and the market trends in that particular area versus our area.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge difference in many aspects, but at the same time, yes, you said it perfectly. Systems are so important. Planning is important. Systems are so important, in my opinion, for everything. I have
Mm-hmm.
systems for everything from daily operations to the bigger picture. But with that said, unless you're consistent and showing up and doing the work that you plan to do, then you won't achieve what you're looking to achieve.
Absolutely.
All the systems and everything else is a vehicle to work more efficiently,
Mm-hmm.
goal, and know what direction you're going in, but you got to show up and do the work.
Bottom line. That was perfectly said. I love that. Have you used AI? Like, have you heard of Make AI?
I haven't heard of Make, but I do use AI quite a bit in different apps of AI. Of course, ChatGPT has become so popular. I use Google AI for being able to write email with the assistance of AI without having to go from one platform to another because I want to be as efficient as possible. Um,
Yes. I
uh,
think you would like it because it is a systems machine. It's all about putting those SOPs, those systems into motion. So it isn't just writing emails, it's literally doing from one, I think it's called MAKE
I'm
dot
writing this
A
down. MAKE.
M MAKE. I'm looking here because I was in another class yesterday. I study this stuff like crazy. MAKE dot AI make, and another one like it is N, the letter N, 8N. N8N. They're both similar products. I don't know which one would be better, but it was a woman who was just a systems machine. She's only been doing AI for 6 months, and she is teaching all of us all these different things. She goes, you got to have your platform of how you'd lay out your system. Then you just hand it over to this thing, and it takes over and builds it all out in such a process that you can't even believe. I don't know the pricing on it. I don't know any of that. But from you're very much like her, and I think you would love this product.
Well, thank you for sharing this with
Sure.
me. Yes, I will look into it immediately.
That's what I figured, because that's who you are. So tell me about what you are actually using AI, how have you incorporated that in some of your systems already?
I mean, honestly, I use it almost, not almost, I do use it on a daily basis, almost every minute of the day. I
Yes.
talk to it all day. I'm getting ideas. I'm getting, advice. Of course, human first, human last, though. I can't
Hmm.
stress this enough. AI sometimes has hallucinations, or it's not exactly what you should be doing for you or for your business or for your client. But it takes a lot of the guessing out of the equation. It takes a
Right.
lot of the effort that we spend to try to wrap our minds around something and think of solutions or think of things like that, and saves a lot of time, gives me a lot
Hmm.
of ideas, and at the end of the day, it's human last. Uh,
Yes.
so I do use it quite often for that. I use it, of course, for images. I do use it for social media planning and creation of social media, which is a big part of our marketing now.
Hmm.
Newsletters, all kinds of things. Yeah.
One thing I taught, I teach AI to realtors. Once a month, I do a live class that I do. But this last one I did on teaching the LLMs who you are and creating a PDF for that so that you
Mhm.
can put that in all your different platforms instead of it trying to figure out who you are over time. And within ChatGPT, there's projects. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So within the projects, that line where you type in whatever you're going to do, right above it is a little box that says add file. And it's not the one where you'd add a file over here within that box, but this one is where you do something that you want the whole project to know about. And so the process is basically you go into a brand new chat, you're outside of the project right now, and you say, chat, ask me 25, 30 questions all about who I am, everything about who I am. I want my family, my faith, my age, my values, my goals in my business, everything to do with it. Ask me that. And then you answer it. You go on the phone. I print those out and I go on the phone app and I read them
Yeah.
in, and all I do is say, number one is this, number two is this. Because now, when you're reading it in, physically reading it in versus typing, it's hearing your tonality, your style. And so then, when I'm all done with 25, and I say, right after I put the number 25 in, I say, okay, now I want you to take a look at these answers and then tell me if you've got more questions for me based on the fact that I want to use this as a saved PDF file that I will use to teach other LLMs, including you, who I am, my mission, and my style. And it says, okay. And typically it comes back with another 5 or 6 questions. I print those out again. I read them back in. I say, okay, now create that PDF we talked about. That's going to be the summary of who I am. So now it does. and it gives me the little link for the PDF. I download that, I save it in my Google Drive, right where I'll know where it is at all times. And then I go back to projects. And at that little red box there, that's where I add it. So every single project box that I've got has that in it. And then I
Mhm.
name that project, like for example, one of mine is YouTube. So I have all these conversations now within that instead of over in a chat, because now it saves all those different things that I'm learning about YouTube or doing with YouTube. And it also knows who I am. And it's all woven in instead of separate little chats. And
Mhm.
the difference is amazing. And you could take that same PDF and go over to Claude or any of them and upload that in there and say, this is who I am. Keep that in mind as we start to talk. Now, I don't know. I think the Gemini has a thing comparable to projects. I haven't looked at it yet. And I've never worked with Claude, so I don't know it. But and the Notebook LM, I really want to work with that a lot. So I don't know if that one's got projects or how I do that. But point is, it's there, even if they don't have it till they do, because they're all so similar. That
Right. So
with each one having a different skill. And so that is a powerhouse tool though to do. So just sharing that with
yeah,
everybody.
thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. I mean, I do work with projects on chat, and I did something similar in terms of like asking the questions and trying to build my personality, but I didn't know that you could save it as a file under projects too. And also didn't think about using the same one for other social media. So I'm like recreating the wheel on each one where
Yes.
you just saved me a lot of time here. And that's what I'm about being efficient.
Yeah. Well, and it used to be when chat first came out, you customized the platform and it was all in their internal, it was down in your under your name and it had a little preference. And I did that before and that was okay. But this is so much stronger and you can update that PDF anytime you want. You know, things
Yeah.
change in life, your goals change, whatever. And you've got two different visions going on here, two different states combined into one path, you know? So I would have all of that in there, your goals, your visions, and talk about your style, your personality. I heard yesterday too that people are putting their disc profile in there. Wow, I thought that's powerful because then it really knows based on your disc profile who you are, your values, and all that. And you can do it for each one of your agents that are working with you to have them do their disc profile and have that part of their PDF so that you can even have create a project, which would be all your different agents. Here's my team. Here's all the different
Yeah.
agents. Here's their styles. Here's their thing. Help me as the leader of the team, know how to work with my different peeps. I mean, my brain's just going wild on all of this. I love it.
Yeah, it is. I see. I love it. I'm making notes. I didn't think about, adding the disc profile in there, and that's something we do every year, it's just a refresher for each person to understand who they are, what are their strengths and weaknesses, and for me to also do that. But I never thought to actually use it to create my personality for,
Yes.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and the way that I've always done DISC when I was training on it and continue to is to really understand the other person.
yeah.
I see their personality in a car. Now, it doesn't always fit the bill, but I'm a car girl. I'm from Detroit. So I see what you drive as a car tells me a lot about your style. And I'm a ID and sometimes a DI. So the I is right there. So if you know anything about what you do, that would mean a sports car. And this is what this girl has too. And I need the flash. And yet the D would be much more of the sedan style luxury possibly, but definitely more a boxed in, safer, like a tank kind of thing in my mind. And so the D is not in my car picture at all. It's straight I. And but I see like now obviously there's different families have got to have the SUV or you've got a van. The two tell me a lot about the style too. The van tells me the practicality. So I start going into the C, and possibly the S over there just by the car. So when I would pull up to someone's house and the cars might be in the driveway, I'm judging the cars, analyzing the cars, not because like I'm better or less than. I need to see your style before we even meet.
That's interesting. Very
Yes.
interesting. I will try that trick.
Well, and that's the beauty of it within those disc profiles. It tells you how to deal as your style with other ones. Like for me, an engineer is really tough. An engineer who needs so much detail. With me, I'm a straight bottom liner, both with the I and the D. I don't need any of the fluff, just get to the point. And then, but your engineer, they need so much detail. And I struggle with them, but I have to, it's not about me, it's about them, to your point, and I really have to study who my client is and meet their needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So now you cover those two territories. You're internationally born. Do you do any business outside of the country?
I have not, maybe in the future.
Yes, I that's my vision right now. That's primarily what I do. I'm outgoing global referrals all over the
Yeah.
world.
Well, I do give referrals, but I don't necessarily run a team or a business or do any business myself internationally. But I, of course, I connect people. However, I have family. My whole family actually lives in Dubai, and I travel there every year. And
Mm,
every year when I'm there, I'm so intrigued and interested in the real estate industry in Dubai. And
yes.
it's been one of my dreams to potentially, be able to somehow start a business there in real estate as well. Yeah.
Just so you
Maybe
know,
one.
you can absolutely do that with EXP. So,
I like the
yes,
freedom of different companies. So I might be with a third company
yeah,
in Dubai. I don't know, on my own.
yes. And that's the beauty of it. In Dubai, I have a lot of connections in Dubai, and Dubai with all the tax structure, it's a whole different lifestyle there that that they've got going on. The elimination of the capital gains, really big draw, and a lot of Floridians are very interested in investing in Dubai. So, if you
Yeah.
ever needed referrals in Dubai, I'm your gal. I can get you
Okay, sounds
names.
good.
I've got lots of names
Bye.
over there.
I am planning a trip in January of this upcoming January, and I yeah would love a referral or two of people that I can connect with and just powwow with while I'm there.
Yes. Yeah, and they're luxury agents typically because most of Dubai feels like it's luxury anyway.
Very true.
Anyway, well, this has been great. Any last minute tips for our viewers on what you feel that be a valuable lesson for agents that may be struggling in this market?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say to any agent who's struggling, and people get frustrated, when they're struggling. Look at what you're doing and what you're not doing. If you're doing
Mhm,
everything correctly, you shouldn't be struggling.
mhm,
The business will come. So focus on the process, but it could potentially also be some set some skills that maybe you need help with or need to improve on. And many of us don't like to be critiqued or feel like we don't know how to do something. But be
mhm.
honest with yourself. Do you need to work on objection handling techniques? Do you need to work on consistency? Do you need to maybe log down exactly your activities and how much time you're spending on them and what the outcome is? And if the outcome is not matching the activity, it might be a skill issue. If
Yes,
if your hours that you're not putting in are not, how can I say, enough to complete all the necessary processes to get to the outcome you're looking for, then you need to be honest about that
yeah.
and change that.
And either
Uh,
fix it or get out is really
Work it
the
out.
truth.
Absolutely. It's one of two things always. People
Mhm.
think they're doing more than they really are, or they need help with their skill sets. And without logging in and paying attention to it and being honest about it with yourself first, and maybe seeking a mentor or a coach, you will fail. So, uh,
Yes.
so that's my biggest advice. Yeah.
I love that. That was great. Well, I appreciate you being on here so much, and it's been a pleasure. And I look forward to staying connected.
Thank you. It was my honor. I appreciate it as well.
Thank you. Well, that's it for Real Estate Riches today. And I want to let you know that you're going to be able to get all her information below. So stay tuned. And if you're in the Buffalo or Tampa, Florida area, feel free to reach out to her. And it'll be wonderful. Thanks again, everybody. Let's book a strategy call and see how it would look in your eyes. And if you're thinking, man, I'd like to have a conversation with Kathy Byrnes. Maybe I'd like to be part of this EXP company and see what it's all about. That sounds good to me. Let's book a strategy call and let's have a talk. No pressure, but man, it's worth a conversation. The link's in the description.